In this video, I'm going to talk about creating your product, but before you start, there's a few things we need to discuss. Firstly, you need to know your format. Which format you're creating your product in does kind of change the creation process a little. The process pretty much is the same, but you've got to know what format you're creating for, because for example, written word is very different to the spoken word. You tend to write in a different style to how you speak, so you've got to understand your format. You need to also have an idea of what information you want to include in your product. So this will have been in your product research phase. You'll have gone out, looked at other products, looked at sales letters, looked for forums, identified people's problems, their pain, worked out solutions to it, what people want to know. So you know what information you want to include in your product. May not be, in-depth, precise, but you've got a broad idea of what needs to go in there. You might want to research the forums for common problems and questions. So these are good things to include. Now obviously you don't copy them, you rewrite them, but they're good things to include. If there's common problems in forums, you can include them in your product, maybe as an appendix, maybe as chapters in themselves, just to help make the book appear valuable, give it value to the people, and give it substantial content. I would recommend you set aside a specific time to do this. Don't sort of say, "Oh, I'll do it tomorrow maybe," and never get around to it. Set aside the time, sit down, discipline yourself, and do it. Okay, get writing, get creating your product. Once you start, you'll be surprised how quickly you can do it. And please make sure you take breaks. Now, I know from personal experience, you tend to sit there and think, right, I'm going to get working, and sort of 3 hours later, you're still going. Your typing's down to sort of 5 words a minute, and you've gone cross-eyed, and every third word's spelt wrong. Take regular breaks. Get up, away from your desk, and go and do something else. Don't sit at your desk and sit and go, "Oh, well, I'll go and look at the news sites and do a bit of this and that." Get up and move a little. I know, sounds simple, but it'll make all the difference. It'll get the blood flowing, it'll clear your air, your head a bit. If you can, get outside for 5 minutes. Just give yourself a little breath of fresh air so you can go, "Right, I'm ready again now." It just refreshes you. Otherwise, you tend to sit there for ages and you get a bit stale. You start getting tired and making clumsy mistakes. Best thing you can do is get up and move around a bit. I find it's a lot better to write a chapter or two and then take a break, rather than for me to sit down and say, "Right, I'm going to write 100 pages right now. I'm not going to stop till I'm done." After about 40 or 50 pages, you start to burn out a little. Seriously, you do. So what you need to do is just write a section, go right up, I'm going to do something else for 5 minutes, come back, write the next one. Takes discipline to come back, takes discipline to take the breaks, but it will make the difference in the quality of your writing. So make sure you do that. I know you're going to be tempted to sit there and keep going, but please just get up, have a bit of a break, stretch yourself, jump up and down a few times, something like that, and you'll feel a lot better. And you're going to be surprised how easy it is to create your own information product. If you're sitting there now thinking that it's difficult, in the next 10 minutes or so, you'll be sitting there going, "Oh, is that all?" It's not hard. It's not difficult. As long as you can write to a reasonable standard in the language that you're writing in, you'll find it easy to create an information product. So the first thing to do, now obviously I'm assuming you have, say, Microsoft Word open right now, and you're getting ready. The first thing to do is write out your chapter headings. So you leave a blank page for your title, then a disclaimer, table of contents, introduction, then your chapter headings. Write out the chapter headings are the major subjects you're going to cover. So your introduction would be about the book, what you're going to teach them, how to use it. Then, for example, say we're doing a weight loss, your first chapter might be how we put on weight. And the next chapter might be how the weight loss process physically works. And then it might be, how to diet, how to exercise, recipe ideas, and so on and so forth as a major subjects. Then you have your conclusion when you're near the end. Your conclusion is called an end note or a summary. That is basically your conclusion is you tell people what you've told them, and you tell them where to go next. So, you say, right, you've read this book, now get off your butt and do it. That's basically the conclusion. You tell them where to go and what to do next, but in a nice way and obviously professional way. And then after that, you have a resource section. The resource section is typically a number of products or services, your own or affiliate ones, that you're promoting, that you make money when people buy it. And they are related to the content of your book. Underneath each chapter heading, you will write out subchapter headings. Now, you may not use them as subchapter headings. They may just be, groups of information within each chapter. But you'd write out these as subjects you'll cover within each chapter. Okay, the next one after that is under each subchapter, write out some bullet points for what each subchapter will contain. So it's just a few points on the main points of information you want that subchapter to contain. And then you sit yourself down and you write those out as proper paragraphs. So you expand each bullet point out into 2, 3, 4, 5 or even more paragraphs, put in stories, anecdotes, pictures and so on and so forth, and that's all you do. You just go through each bullet point doing that. And again, if your subchapters aren't actually going to be subchapter headings, turn those into paragraphs as well. Then go and complete your introduction, disclaimer, table of contents, conclusion and resources, and voila, one completed product. There you are. You now know how to create an information product, simply told in one page. It's really easy, honestly, it's not difficult. The difficult part is knowing your subject and knowing what to write. But if you've done your research and you know your marketplace, then it's not hard. If you don't, then it can be difficult. If you're going to try and, write fluff and filler, it's not going to sell. And if it does sell, you're going to get an awful lot of refunds. It's got to be quality information. Don't, write just to fill in space. Write because it has a point.